why you came or even if you should have, but you are welcome. Now I'm going to point you out. I'm going to point you out. This hand is being guided by the Holy Spirit. You're over here. Now don't be afraid. Don't be frightened. He's calling you. He's healing you. The Lord is healing you right there.
It's you, dude.
You are being
He's
called.
pointing to you.
You are being healed right now. Stand and receive it.
Stand up.
Stand and receive it. You are being called.
Come on, dude. This is your time. This is it.
Stand up and claim it. Stand up and claim your healing.
I did have that period of my own journey with this, of going to some of these services right after my injury, in the first probably year or so. Which is, like I said, you don't realize it at the time, but in hindsight, you go, oh my God, I was out of my head. You know, I was having this kind of desperate reaction to such a huge injury, life-changing injury. But at the time, you don't know that. You only know where you are at the moment. It was just such a crazy world. There's so many people at these services who are so begging for it and desperate and believing in it and wanting it. And there are people out there who claim that they have been healed. All of that just seemed ripe to me for a story. The idea of a guy who is not religious, who's not spiritual, who doesn't really have any faith, but goes out of desperation. That's basically what I got from my own background, I was desperate enough to go to a healing service. And that's what I started with.
I was living with him.
We were roommates.
We were roommates, and I got the call that he had fallen, and you know I couldn't believe it, and I ran. You know, I immediately went to the hospital, and I walked in, and you know there he was in that hospital bed in that room, and you know I was trying to be as light as possible, to kind of make a joke out of it, but. That didn't last very long, and
I can't tell the joke on air.
The love between everybody, you know, it saved Chris. I mean, he was ready to go back home to his parents.
He was scared. He didn't want
I was petrified. I didn't want to get on stage.
He didn't want to be known as an actor in a wheelchair.
I just thought that was going to be it. And they said, okay, we start rehearsal on Monday. And I just thought, I said, no, there's no way.
Like,
I was like, what are you, crazy?
It.
I said, I
no
can't
way.
do a play.
I mean, it culminated in a huge fight. We almost had a fist fight.
Yeah, I almost kicked his ass even in a wheelchair.
Yeah. He's like, I'm in a wheelchair. And we were just like, no, you're an actor. You're an actor, and you're an actor in a chair. You're an actor out of a chair. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. And you're gonna go up, and it was great.
And it ended up being one of the best
things we ever did.
Yeah, one of the best experiences I've ever had. Sympathy for Delicious, you know, it had a lot of strikes against it going right out of the gate.
Chris and I had carried this project for, you know, by that point, 5 years. People didn't want to finance, or afraid to finance a movie with a first-time director and a basically unknown lead.
If it can get made, you can get your dreams made, I think, is what I'd like to take from it.
Dean, what's up, Patrick? You're gonna become a rock star and make $1 million so you can pay for my new shelter. Maybe you should think about getting back into your music, Dean.
A crippled DJ?
The movie's about at its just barest, is about a guy in a wheelchair who gets the gift to heal, but he can't heal himself.
Myself, when my injury first happens, probably like anybody who has an injury like this, like Dean, wants to be physically healed. You know, you could once physically do this, you can't anymore, you want it back. When the healing comes along, when this gift comes along, then he wants to first use it on himself. That doesn't work. Then what do I do with it now?
So he takes this God-given gift and he completely prostitutes it to get sex, drugs, rock and roll, and fame. And along the way, this very selfish person has one genuine act of selflessness.